Alright everyone, welcome to this Minecraft command block tutorial video here on the channel, and within this video I've got something pretty exciting and fun to show you. I was in Minecraft and I was thinking, is there a way to use command blocks to do custom crafting in Minecraft? And there is kind of a way that you can do it, and I've set up some prototyping here and just some stuff to show you. And as you can see, we have a crafter here, which we're going to use for the custom crafting. And we have these command blocks being able to run as well. So we can trigger these command blocks to do the crafting. So the idea is that this crafter can do a few recipes that already exist in the game, but it can also do two other recipes that don't exist. So I'm in Minecraft 1.21.4 and I'm on the Java edition, and this should hopefully work in the new updates as well, the upcoming updates. But just as some examples here, you can see if I use some planks here, I can convert that to sticks in a normal fashion. And with the sticks here, I can actually make a diamond axe. As you can see here, we have a diamond axe, and we can also do a more complicated recipe like a cake. So we have this here, we have our sugar, and we add some milk, and if we activate this here, we have a cake, as you can see right there. So those are ordinary recipes, but I've also done some custom ones as well. So for example, we have a potato and a normal potion of poison. If we activate this, we can now convert that into a poisonous potato, as you can see right there. So there isn't currently a crafting recipe for a poisonous potato, and I've added it into the game using the command blocks essentially. Now, in the next case, I've got something pretty similar. This is a decrafting process. So we have all of this netherite armor here. So 24 ingots of netherite were needed to craft all of these, but if I activate this system here, I can convert it back into those ingots, as you can see right there. So it's a pretty cool little system, and you can see here we have sticks, diamond axe, we have cake, poisonous potato, and the decrafting of the netherite armor. So each recipe needs 3 command blocks to get it to work, and that's all you really need. And you can see here we have a floating crafter above each segment. So this crafter here actually, I guess, looks at or contains the recipe that's actually required for it to be actually valid, as you can see right here. So I've done that for all of these. And how this sort of system works is this command block is run first in the segment, and it checks to see if this crafter is the same as this crafter. And the only time that is the case is if the recipe in here matches the recipe in here. And if it does, and it's successful, this command block will then spawn some items above the crafter, depending on what the recipe actually is. And then at the very end here, this very end command block will essentially remove or empty the crafter out of the items that were currently in there. So that's how it works. It's kind of simple, but I guess with all the various aspects, it can be a little complex. But once you get your head around it, it's actually pretty straightforward. But one thing we're actually doing here to make this work in a nice fashion is that this command block only runs if this one was successful, and this one only runs if this one was successful. So essentially, we are checking the success of the previous command block. So that is how we're getting this to essentially work here. So it's a pretty nice little system. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to show you the 3 commands needed for these command blocks here in a text editor so you can see them in more detail. All right, everyone, we're now inside the text editor right here, and I'd urge you to watch this part of the video so you get to understand how the commands actually work and so you can learn more. These commands will be in the description of the video so you can check them out for yourself, copy and paste and all that cool stuff. But the first command is what is done to check if the crafters are the same. So we're doing execute if blocks. So we're checking two regions or two blocks in Minecraft. And what we're doing here is we're providing these coordinates. So this is correct for me in particular. And you can see here, we are checking essentially two blocks above the command block that we're running from. And we are then comparing that block with these coordinates right here. So these coordinates are essentially the coordinates of the crafter that we're using for the custom crafting. So we have that right there. And one thing that's important to note is that a crafter has directionality to it. So in order for this to actually work, you need to make sure that when it does the check, that the crafter above the command blocks and the crafter you have to the side that the player actually uses is in the same orientation. If it's not, then this will not work. So essentially what I'm saying is that if you have two crafters that are facing different directions, they will not be considered the same because they're not looking in the same direction. So please bear that in mind. And we also have the all keyword at the end to say that we're checking all of the blocks. So essentially this just checks one block against another. And if this is successful, we then look at the next one. So we have execute if block, and we are using these relative coordinates here to look at the repeating command block at the start of the chain. So in this particular case, we're looking at one block in the Z direction, and you may have to tweak these depending on how you've actually built the command blocks and what direction they're facing. But in my particular case, this is correct. So we're checking the repeating command block and we're checking if the success count is 1. Okay, so this is 0 if the repeating command block doesn't come back with anything. Okay, and if it is successful, so essentially the recipe is valid. Essentially, that's what we're looking at here. Is the recipe valid? And then it will run a summon command and it will summon a item entity above the crafters. So you'll notice that this coordinate right here is one block above this one because the Y coordinate is one block up. And we're giving this item data here. So in this case, we're doing a cake with count 1 as the stack size. And that is how we summon the item entity above the crafter. Now, if this is successful, if it actually puts the items down, we then go on to the next one here, which is another execute if block, because we're checking the chain command block that we were just in. And if that success count is 1, so it's a very similar check to the first one, we then run a data modify block and we target the crafter and the items data collection. So essentially the items inside of the crafter, we set the value to empty square bracket. So that means we make it empty. So that is us emptying out the crafter. So that is how it essentially works. And I'm hoping that I have explained myself well enough so that you understand how this all works. And obviously you can make this more refined. You can make this a lot better. And there are some limitations to this system. One limitation of the system, for example, is that the crafting is not shapeless. So what I mean by this is that the sticks crafting I did a moment ago only works if you do this. So if I put them in the middle and try and use it here, you can see it does not work. It only works if it's like this. And the reason why that is because, you know, if you want to do shapeless crafting, you would have to do every possible combination that it can actually be. So that would obviously, I mean, that would be possible. You would be able to do that using this system here. You would have to have a lot more detectors and a lot more command blocks in order to do it. So that is one limitation, but most of the time that won't be too important, really, especially if you're doing custom crafting and stuff like that. So, you could refine it to make it better, but at least I can show you the theory and how it works and what you need to understand and know about commands in order to get this to work. Alright everyone, thank you for watching this tutorial right here. Hopefully I explained myself in the best way possible, but if you did enjoy this video, you learned something new and you want to support the channel, be sure to like, share and subscribe. It'd be very much appreciated. And make sure that you hit the bell so you're notified of new videos here on the channel. If you want to follow my socials, they're on screen and in the description. And if there's any other tutorials you want me to do, let me know in the comments down below and I may do it for a future video. But stay happy and healthy, everyone. Hopefully this helps you out. Take care. Bye-bye.